Once upon a time, Amy believed in love, the real kind, the all-consuming, unwavering, eternal love. She believed in it when she looked into Jake's eyes on their wedding day, when they vowed to be faithful to each other, when he told her for the first time that he would love her forever. 7 years had passed. She still wanted to believe, but something had changed. At first, it was almost imperceptible. A slight tension in his voice, a quick, fleeting touch instead of a warm embrace. He started coming home late. It hadn't bothered her before. His job had always been unpredictable. But now it didn't feel like work. Jake no longer told her about his days. He didn't complain about his boss or share his thoughts the way he used to. Instead, he brushed her off. "Everything's fine, sweetheart. I'm just tired." But Amy knew him too well. She knew when he was telling the truth and when he was lying, and he was lying. She could feel it in the little things, like how his phone was now always placed face down. He never used to care. He'd leave it anywhere without a second thought. Now, he took it with him to the bathroom, even when he showered. One night, when he thought she was asleep, Amy saw him sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen. The phone's glow carved sharp shadows across his face in the dark. She barely opened her eyes, just enough to watch. Jake was texting someone. Then he deleted the message, typed again, deleted it once more. Amy shut her eyes, pretending to be asleep, and in the morning, she couldn't shake the sick feeling inside her, like an invisible hand was tightening around her throat. Everything inside her screamed something was wrong. But was it real proof? Amy had never been the jealous type. She had trusted Jake, trusted him until the very last moment, until that day, the day she saw him on the phone in their car, parked 2 blocks from home. He sat gripping the steering wheel, speaking quietly, almost in a whisper. Amy stepped closer, hiding behind a tree. "No, I can't right now. Yes, of course I miss you. You know that." Then he quickly looked around. Amy pressed against the rough bark, feeling her heart pound. He wasn't talking to a colleague, not to a friend, and definitely not to her. She could no longer turn a blind eye. Now she had to know the truth, at any cost. To be continued. Chapter 2. Shadows in the reflection. Amy couldn't just let it go. She had always considered herself a rational woman. Feelings were one thing, but facts didn't lie. And the facts told her that Jake was hiding something. All night, she tossed and turned in bed, listening to his steady breathing. Trust crumbled into dust. In the morning, she made coffee and placed a mug in front of him, watching as he reached for it without looking. "You're up early," she said casually. "Yeah, got some work to finish." He didn't lift his eyes for even a second. He used to always look at her. Amy took a slow sip of coffee. "Where did you go last night?" Jake froze for just a fraction of a second. Almost imperceptible, but she caught it. "What do you mean?" "I saw you sitting in the car, talking to someone." Now, he looked up, his gaze sharp, assessing. "Work, Amy. Same as always." "You said you missed them. A second. 2. He scoffed, leaning back in his chair. "Are you spying on me now?" She held his gaze. "I don't need to spy. I just pay attention." Jake smirked, but for a moment, something flickered in his eyes, irritation or maybe fear. "You've made something up, and now you're searching for proof. Maybe find something better to do." He stood up, leaving his coffee unfinished. That was his first mistake. Jake had never walked away from a conversation before. He argued, persuaded, explained, but not this time. This time, he just left. That same day, Amy took the first step. She grabbed grabbed his old laptop. Jake only used his work computer now, and this one had been gathering dust in the corner of his office. If he was hiding something, there had to be traces. She powered it on, her pulse pounding in her ears. Password. He used to always set their wedding date. She tried it. Incorrect. So he had changed it. Amy thought for a moment. She knew Jake. She knew his weaknesses. She tried another combination. Max's birthday. Their dog. Incorrect. All right, fine. Next option. She typed his late mother's name. Password accepted. Amy held her breath. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She opened the documents folder. Nothing unusual. A few contracts, some old files. But in the corner of the screen, there was a hidden folder icon. She double-clicked it. The folder opened. Inside, there were only 2 files. One was a photo, the other, a text document. She opened the photo first. As the image loaded, Amy felt her stomach drop. It was a woman, beautiful, with dark eyes and a sultry smile. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was where the photo had been taken. Amy knew that background, every corner, every detail, because that picture had been taken in their home, right in their bedroom. Chapter 3. A Voice from the Past. Amy couldn't breathe. The photo burned into her vision, but her mind refused to accept the obvious. Who was this woman? When was this taken? Her fingers trembled, but she forced herself to open the second file. A text document appeared on the screen. There were only 3 lines inside. She knows. You need to handle it. Time is running out. Tonight, as agreed. Don't let me down. A chill ran down Amy's spine. She read the message again. She knows. Were they talking about her? Jake, he knew. He was hiding something. And now, if this document wasn't old, something was supposed to happen. Tonight. Amy heard the front door open. Jake was home. She quickly closed the laptop, forcing herself to appear casual. What are you up to? His voice was too steady. She shrugged, gripping a mug she hadn't even realized she was holding. Just tidying up. Jake stepped closer. His eyes scanned the table, lingering on the laptop for a second, but he said nothing. You look exhausted, he finally said. Maybe you should get some rest. Amy looked at him. The face she had known for years, but now it felt like a stranger's. That night, she didn't sleep. She waited until Jake had dozed off and slipped into the living room. Her phone shook in her hand. She couldn't just sit and wait. She dialed the only person she could still trust. The ringing stretched endlessly. And then, a voice. Amy, it's late. What's wrong? Meg. Her voice wavered. I need your help. God, what's going on? You're shaking. Amy swallowed hard. I think he wants to kill me. Silence on the other end. Then, where are you? At home. Get out, now. Amy lifted her eyes and immediately knew she had made a mistake. In the window's reflection stood a figure, Jake, watching her. He had heard everything. Chapter 4. Run. But where? Amy felt her heart plummet to her stomach. Jake stood motionless. The dim glow of the nightlight carved his silhouette into the reflection of the window. She didn't know how long he had been listening. Amy. His voice was quiet, but there was something ice-cold in it. Who are you calling? She quickly hid the phone behind her back. I just couldn't sleep. Jake took a step forward. That's a lie. Amy tensed. He was too calm, too sure of himself. Then her eyes dropped to his hand. It was clenched into a fist. What was in it? Her brain screamed, run! But her legs felt glued to the floor. Go to bed, he said, taking another step. Tomorrow will be a long day. Amy forced herself to nod. Yes. Yeah, of course. She couldn't let him suspect anything more. She walked past him, feeling his gaze burn into her back. instantly. "Go out the back door. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Amy took a deep breath. She tiptoed to the window. Rain drummed against the glass. Her car sat parked by the road, but the keys were in the living room, and right next to them, Jake. Her eyes flicked to the closet. Inside was her old gym bag. She stuffed a jacket inside, cash, spare documents. If she ever got out. Footsteps in the hallway. Amy held her breath. The doorknob rattled. "Amy." His voice was soft. Too soft. "Are you asleep?" She pressed herself against the wall. "Number not this." "Yeah," she managed to whisper. A pause. "All right." His voice faded away. "Sleep well, darling." She waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. Then silently, she unlocked the door and stepped into the darkness. Chapter 5. The Night of Deception. Amy crept through the corridor, trying to breathe as quietly as possible. The house was cloaked in dimness, and every movement seemed too loud. She reached the staircase. Jake was downstairs. Light from the living room cast his shadow on the wall. He was typing something on his phone. Amy took a step back. If he saw her now, it would be over. She pressed herself against the wall, forcing herself to think. The car keys were in the hallway, the back door, right past the kitchen. But what if he got suspicious? She couldn't just leave. She needed a distraction. Amy quietly returned to the bedroom. On the dresser sat her old music box. She wound it up, but not all the way. Then carefully placed it on the edge of the nightstand. One more step. And the music box fell. The melody played. Amy froze. Silence. Then the sound of footsteps. "He's coming." She bolted back into the corridor. Her heart pounded so loudly it felt like Jake could hear it. The staircase. 3 steps. Noise from the bedroom. Jake had entered. Amy sprinted down. The keys. They sat on the table by the door. Her hand trembled as she grabbed them. At that moment, she heard his voice. "Amy." He was on the stairs. She didn't have time. Her hand was on the doorknob. She turned it, and the lock clicked. "Where are you going?" His voice was far too calm. She didn't look back. "Think, Amy. Think. I just wanted to check if the door was locked." Her voice trembled. Silence. Then, "Isn't it strange to check the door in the middle of the night?" His footsteps drew closer. Amy exhaled slowly. If she looked back now, he'd see the fear in her eyes. She forced herself to laugh. "I just had a bad feeling." A pause. "It's okay, Amy." He placed his hand on her shoulder, too tightly. "Go to bed." She nodded, but when she climbed back into the bedroom, her hands shook. She couldn't run tonight, but tomorrow, everything would change. Here's the translation for Chapter 6, The Locked Door. Chapter 6, The Locked Door. Amy lay in bed, but sleep wouldn't come. Tomorrow. Those words spun in her mind. She listened to Jake's breathing beside her, even, calm, as if he suspected nothing. But she knew that wasn't true. He was hiding something. His phone. He always carried it with him. But tonight, he left it charging on the nightstand. Amy slowly turned her head. The screen blinked. A notification. Message from an unknown number. Her heart clenched. Amy bit her lip. What if... She carefully slid her hand under the blanket. Jake didn't move. Just a little more. Almost. Her hand touched the phone. She held her breath and pressed the button. The screen lit up. One new message. It had arrived 3 minutes ago. She opened it. Everything is ready. Tomorrow at 2:30. Amy felt ice spread through her veins. 2:30. What's supposed to happen at that time? She heard movement nearby, frozen, but Jake just turned onto his side. Amy slowly placed the phone back. She closed her eyes, but her thoughts raced chaotically. She couldn't wait until tomorrow. She couldn't just leave it be. She needed to know the truth. The next morning, voice was hoarse. He smiled. "You didn't sleep well, sweetheart. I thought it'd be better if you rested more." He inserted the key into the lock and turned it. The door closed. The door was locked. "Jake," her voice trembled. "Open it." He stepped closer, bent down, looking straight into her eyes. "You have nowhere to run, Amy. Would you like to continue the story or adjust any details?" The climax. Lily was staring at the screen when she heard a quiet but piercing sound behind her, like someone dragging a sharp object across glass. Slowly turning her head, she saw a shadow in the monitor's reflection. "You shouldn't have dug so deep, Lily," came a steady voice. She froze. The voice was familiar, too familiar. "Jake." He stepped into the light, holding a thin hunting knife. There was no trace of the love and tenderness she knew in his eyes, only cold calculation. "You don't really think I'll let you destroy everything, do you?" Lily clenched her phone in her hand, feeling her fingers betray her with trembles. "It was you." The realization hit her like an avalanche. "You staged all of it, didn't you? All those strange calls, the threats. You wanted me to believe someone else was stalking me." Jake smirked. "You've always been smart, just not smart enough to figure it out right away." He moved closer, and Lily instinctively stepped back. "Why?" Her voice trembled, but she tried to stay composed. "You could have just walked away." "Walk away?" He clenched his fists, his lips twisting into a malevolent grin. "And leave you with that lawyer?" "Oh, Lily, you don't understand. You weren't supposed to find out the truth." She remembered the letter she found in the desk. Legal documents. Jake would inherit everything if she died. "Was it about the money?" she whispered. He hesitated, then shrugged. "Money's always a good motivation. But with you, Lily, it became personal. You didn't just leave me. You turned my life into hell." The light flickered. For a second, the room plunged into darkness. When it lit up again, Jake was already beside her. Lily dashed to the side, trying to escape the room, but a strong hand grabbed her wrist. "Ah!" she screamed, but he quickly covered her mouth with his palm. "Shh," he whispered, leaning close to her ear. "You wouldn't want to scare the neighbors, would you?" Her heart pounded violently in her chest. Everything seemed blurred, as if in slow motion. She could feel the cold metal against her throat. But then, through the ringing in her ears, she heard a sound. Click. A loud, heavy thud. Jake tensed suddenly. His grip loosened. He let out a startled hoarse sound and collapsed onto his knees. Behind him stood Mark. The lawyer gripped a massive metal candlestick. "I knew you'd show up again, you bastard." He spat through clenched teeth. Jake looked at him with empty eyes before crumpling to the floor. Lily, in shock, shifted her gaze between Mark and Jake's body. He, unconscious. Hopefully, for a long time, Mark panted, still clutching the weapon tightly. Lily pressed her hand to her mouth, feeling tears stream down her cheeks. "How did you—" "I saw your messages." Mark nodded toward the phone lying on the floor. "When you stopped responding, I knew something was wrong." Sirens. They both turned toward the window, where red and blue lights already flickered. Lily closed her eyes. It was over. But when she looked at Jake's motionless form, a strange feeling welled up inside her, as if something was wrong. Epilogue. The final game. A few days later, Lily sat in a cafe, trying to collect her thoughts. Jake had been taken away. He was in a coma. Doctors said the chances of waking up were slim, but something wouldn't let her rest. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Her hands trembled as she pressed answer.